guys, welcome back to a new video. We're gonna be, well, fixing up my dad's bike. This is an old, it's over 15 years, we don't know the exact year, an old Schwinn High Plains. We're gonna be fixing it up and doing upgrades to it. We already started off with the pedals right here. We did that just by ourselves. Right now we're gonna be putting grips and shifter and brake lever on them. All you really need is some pliers or a cable cutter or an Allen wrench. The grips that we have here are snafu grips. You can get them at your local Walmart, something like that. They're lock-on grips, so that's why we need the Allen key that came with it. And then also it's bar ends. But first, we're gonna slide on the shifter. This is a Shimano 7-speed brake and shifter combination. Then you get it to the desired position, tighten it up a little bit. Now you don't want to have them too tight, because if you have them too tight, then if you crash or fall, they'll just break. But you want to have them tight enough so they won't just finick around. Like right there, that's good enough. Now we're going to put on the grips. Just slide them on. Make sure they're fully on there because we don't want anything else sliding off. You got to tighten them. You want to tighten them to about 6 Newton meters. I do not have a torque wrench, so I'm just going to be estimating. Because you don't want the grips to be sliding off or being whiskey throttle. But as you use a torque wrench, especially on carbon bars. Yeah, I'd say this is about 6 Newton meters. There you go, now we have these grips on. And we also got to make sure that the bar ends are fairly tightened. Now bar ends, they are useful because if you fall on the ground, you don't want your hand to just land on it and then boom, now you're bleeding. Right here, it stops that from happening, so you don't start bleeding, which is pretty neat. Here we go, now I have these on. So now, we have these on, which is good and all. Make sure they're all good. Don't move around. So now we have this cable. This is going to be our shift cable. You have to run it all through the bike. Now for this, we have our extra, we have housing. This is the housing that came with the bike, so we're going to be using this housing. Just going to make sure which housing goes where, because you always want to make sure of this so you don't accidentally mix up the housing. So like this housing, it goes on the front because this is the longer piece. It is already connected to the shifter, as you can see. But the brake, see, look, no brake. We haven't had put on that cable yet. So first we're going to de-extend this cable to where we can actually get it on. Here you go, now we have this cable, all free and dandy. Now we're going to take this piece of housing and make sure we get the right side, even though it's most likely not the right side. But first, there's probably some specific lubricant they're supposed to use, but I just use motor oil. I know people are probably going to get mad at me, but oh well. Get a little bit in there, and run the housing through, and then run the cable through. This lubricates the thing to make sure it doesn't get all rusty and nasty. We want to get all the way through. Technical difficulties. So as I said before, gotta bring in the housing. Gotta make sure the wires aren't tangled or anything. Then it should be tightened when we actually get in it. So now that we have the cable all fitted on, all fitted right here, we are left with this excess because this stuff goes, because this right here, you gotta take it. I do not have a stand, so this is a little bit more difficult. Gotta take the end of it, feed it through the bottom part. Like so. Feed it through. There we go. And then this part right here, this is where the second piece of housing comes in. We've already lubricated the hose, so now we gotta feed it through here. We gotta feed it through the barrel adjuster. And then boom, we have it all nice and situated. Now obviously you can see that we have a lot of excess slack. First we're gonna wanna tighten it in right here, 3/8 on it. Just gonna self-tighten it right now, just to get at least a little tight. We're gonna wanna use this to fully tighten it. After we have that, as you can see, we obviously have leftover slack. Here, first of all, just to make sure that we have this proper, we are going to flip this bike upside down. We're gonna pedal this. So as you can see, we have it pretty good. We have a good amount of slack. Now we're gonna cut it. We don't want to cut it. We don't want to cut it too. We don't want to cut it too short, but we don't want to cut it too little. I like to kind of give just right off the bat, just like a little bit, 3/4 of a finger length. If I didn't say it before, I'll say it again. This is better with wire cutters or cable cutters. Boom, now you have this, but now you have that just weak little end part, which we have our own crimps. What color crimps we're gonna give him? Let's go with, since it's a green bike, let's give a green crimp. Normally you can just use a crimper, but I like to use the needle nose pliers. And you just make sure it's on there. There we go. Now we have a neat little crimp. So now we have the bike, we have it all on, which is good. We have a new cable on from the thing. But now we gotta make sure, now we gotta tighten it, because this is obviously pretty loose. Again, we're gonna loosen this up. And after we have good, we're gonna tighten it. And boom. Now we're gonna test the shifting one more time. The not shifting, like to the next gear, that's not because of the actual shifter, it's because it needs to be tuned. Now we're gonna need to put in the brake cable. This right here, we have the brake cable, it is out. So right now we're gonna need to fit it through here. First we're gonna take out the barrel adjuster. So now we can do this, pull it out a little bit. You grab this. And then boom. We have this on. Take this out a little bit. And now it's all wonky because we now need to get the brake cable back. So now we gotta put the brakes on. We have the first one on. Now we need our adjustable wrench again to put on the second one. There you go, we now have it in and ready. Okay, now that we have that all situated, we should have the brakes already. Pedal it. Obviously they need to be worked on a little bit, but so far we have the brake cable and brake and shifter cable on. This is episode 1 of Fixing Up the Old Bike.